Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, President John Mahama flags cedi mispricing and vows to keep cedi depreciation within a 5% margin annually. Also coming up this afternoon, Cocoa Board secures $4 billion pre-financing deal from buyers. My name is Darryl Kwao. Details coming up. All right. First up, President John Mahama has attributed the recent fluctuations of both the cedi to overvaluation and undervaluation, insisting the currency must settle at its true value. At a media encounter Wednesday evening, the president vowed to keep future depreciation within a 5% margin annually. Take a listen.
We recognize a very steep appreciation in the value of the cedi in response to the reforms that we were carrying out. And for those of you who listened to me, there was one occasion where I said, people were asking whether it will go below 10. And I said, it is dropping, but it will find its true value. It was undervalued at 16, and it probably is overvalued at 10. But somewhere between there, we have the real value of the cedi. And so I believe that it is about stopping rapid depreciation of the currency. Almost every currency would realize either depreciation or appreciation in the course of a year. But when you have steep depreciation of about, like we had in 2024, 25% depreciation in the currency in the first half of the year, it makes planning difficult. And so, yes, Bank of Ghana has been intervening in the forex market, but they've withdrawn. And what happened was that because of the rapid appreciation in the value of the cedi, we saw an exponential increase in imports, because then people could buy cheaper dollars and so they could import more, which is a natural economic phenomenon. But on the other side, exporters are not happy, because they get less cedis for what they export. And so every country tries to find out a balance where exporters are able to do good business and importers are not overburdened by high forex rates. Where that lies, I don't know. I'm not a central bank. But the cedi is making an adjustment, and I believe that it will settle at a certain rate, and we will make sure that any depreciation that occurs in the value of the cedi is within a margin of about 5% per annum. That is what we target.
All right, we'll get into that in a little bit with Senior Banking and Finance Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa. He'll be joining us in the course of the show. Turning to some other headline we are following for you, some of Ghana's international cocoa buyers have begun advancing a portion of a new $4 billion pre-financing deal to Cocoa Board. Under this arrangement, the buyers will pre-finance the purchase of cocoa beans that are yet to be delivered. Here's more in this report.
We understand that some of these funds have started coming in already. This is because these global traders are moving fast to secure the necessary commitment from Cocoa Board when it comes to the supply of cocoa beans. Joy Business is also learning that the more than $4 billion will all not come in at once, but spread over a period. Sources say all the necessary measures have been instituted by Cocoa Board to ensure that it is able to supply all the beans to the buyers. The development will also ensure that the board will be able to move fast and pay cocoa farmers quickly being supplied. It is the expectation of the Bank of Ghana that these inflows could go a long way to improve its reserves, a development that will put the central bank in a strong position to support the local currency.
All right, back to our earlier conversation about the cedi and the president vowing to keep the cedi depreciation within a 5% margin annually. Joining me on Zoom, Senior Banking and Finance Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Mahama. Good afternoon to you. How feasible is the President's target of limiting the city's depreciation to 5% annually, given Ghana's current macroeconomic fundamentals and external vulnerabilities?
It is very possible, but this is the first time in our history that a government has come out to set for itself some boundary for our exchange rate, and it becomes easy for every one of us to monitor and hold the government accountable. 10 to 12. Before that, it has just been a moving target. So all that we hear is that we are going to work on the value of the cedi and the stability of the cedi without measurable benchmarks to be used. If you look at the macroeconomic environment, inflation has been steadily been declining, and it is good. We are seeing crude oil being relatively stable. Gold prices and cocoa prices are good. And one hopes that going forward, if the trend should be this, it should be good for all of us. So a 5% depreciation, I believe, is on the upper bound of the range. So you are looking at 5% on end of year Bank of Ghana official exchange rate, and not the within the year exchange rate fluctuations that we are going to see. So beginning of the year, what is the exchange rate? End of year, what is the exchange rate? That is where the 5% will apply. But looking at the current macroeconomic environment, the 5% should be a good target that we should all work with.
I mean, if they're able to do that, what's going to be the overall impact on inflation, import costs, price stability?
It is going to help in planning. You know, the whole thing is about being able to predict and work within a particular range of the exchange rate. So 5% gives us an idea of what the rate will be. Now, if you are a businessman, a businesswoman, a company, and you import or you export, right from this time till next year, in your planning, you may want to add something plus 5% to be able to plan. If you are importing, you may want to add some percent to the 5% to know how you are going to place your orders and how you are going to factor in the exchange rate into your planning. So the most important thing is how Bank of Ghana can support the economy so that we can work within this particular range. If we are able to do that, now that we know it is between 10 and 12, everybody is now looking at what will happen, whether we are going to break the 12. But if Bank of Ghana succeeds in keeping it 12, and we appreciate again and we go to about 10, then we are all comfortable to know that within 10 to 12, we can plan. And then, of course, plus the 5%, we should be able to do business. In that case, importers will be able to plan, and I believe that exporters will also be able to plan. That brings the stability that all of us want when it comes to our exchange rates.
Yeah, how might investors and the markets react to this comment or this remark by the president, as there are concerns now that this shouldn't be coming from the president, it should be coming from the central bank, and it sort of impacts the independence of the central bank in making these decisions?
Yeah, you are right, and they are right. They're not wrong. They should do that because it depends on which side of the central bank independence argument you want to, stand on. There are some who believe that the central bank should be totally independent. So in that case, we don't want the political actors to be making pronouncements of this nature, which may have implications on the central bank. On the other hand, too, others are saying that no, the president is the one who is held responsible. And if money affects all of us, you cannot create a central bank that is not accountable to the people. In that case, if our central bank is operationally independent, but not politically, in terms of leadership, not independent, one expects the president to come in to make some pronouncement. But the most important thing is that it gives us a benchmark to hold these officers accountable, including the president. The president, in the next 4 years, if he's not standing for an election, his political party is standing for an election. The central bank governance, the leaders have a responsibility. So all of us are going to hold them responsible for this 10 to 12 and then this 5%. yes, the issue of independency comes in, but then ours is more of operational independence. But because we have a political house that appoints the governors, you cannot say that our governors are truly independent through the appointment point of view. And in that case, whatever the president says will have a bearing on the performance of the governors. And we need to hold them accountable.
Well, as we've been monitoring, the city has been under some sort of pressure in the last couple of weeks. The Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee would be meeting next week. How will this affect the decision they make going forward when it comes to the policy rate? IC Securities, IC Research, rather, I should say, has predicted that the central bank may cut it from 25% to 22%.
Yeah, one expects a further rate cut but for the exchange rate that we have seen recent, depreciation of our cedi, look at inflation. Inflation has still been declining. Look at our foreign reserves. So if you look at all this, and look at money supply, look at interest rate that we have on the market now, those who are contracting new loans, not old loans, because if you have contracted an old loan, that old loan was contracted when the rate was at a particular rate. Now we have declined. Rate for new rate will decline. If you look at all this, one can comfortably say that in the next MPC meeting, we still expect some rate cuts. It is not about the exchange rate, it's about the exchange rate plus other positives that we have, including inflation and international development will favor us to have some rate cuts in the next MPC meeting.
Do you see the MPC cutting it by some 300 basis points, as IC Research suggests could be?
I think 200 basis points, from my view, will be fair, considering the current slight weakness in the Ghana cedi. 200 will be okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Senior Banking and Finance Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, joined us with his reactions to the president's vow to keep the cedi depreciation at 5% margin annually. You're watching The Marketplace. We'll be talking a little bit more about the cedi. Hear your thoughts. Can the cedi weather the storm? That's after this break. All right, welcome back to The Marketplace. We have been discussing the president's promise to keep the cedi depreciation within a 5% margin annually. And for our poll today, we are asking, can the Ghana cedi weather the storm? After the president's assurance at the media encounter, what's your take on the cedi's future? Joining me, my colleague Isaac Atasenyako. He's going to run us through a little bit more what the president said, and then we'll hear your thoughts. And so, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Daryl. So, yes, I mean, the president spoke yesterday, and what we'll be focusing on today is his comments about the cedi. And here are some cards that we picked out from the president's comments yesterday. Again, he said that Bank of Ghana had been intervening in the forex market, but he have withdrawn. And also, he will make sure that, like you said, depreciation, that occurs, with a cedi will stay within, a 5%, reach per year.
Now, saying it's not in the place of the president to be making that remark.
Exactly. And you remember that, throughout the year, we've been discussing this. Even here on this particular segment, we spoke about the fact that we can sustain, or whether we can sustain the cedi's free fall or not. And here, or when we move to the next slide, the poll we ran, first off on Facebook, we had about 72% people saying that the city will stabilize and bounce back. That's quite interesting. While about 14, well, the rest split the votes between, the rest of the options, say that it depends on the policy adherence and also depreciation will continue. But on X,
I think people generally, from the Facebook polling, are just trying to feel optimistic about things. But I sort of agree it depends really largely on the policy adherence going forward.
Again, I can't blame Ghanaians for that matter because, well, it's been a while since we enjoyed such, stability in the currency. So a lot of people are hopeful. But on X, quotes, yeah. Well, yes, in quotes, on X, it seems to be a different story. Again, Cedi will stabilize is, pretty ahead. About almost 50% of the respondents say that they believe that, Cedi will be stabilized. However, 27% say that depreciation may persist. Now, that's where the concern is as to whether we'll be able to hold the cedi. But let's follow through to the comment. Richard Techi on Facebook says that another 78 million cedis agenda. I don't know what he means. I don't know if he's trying to say that
out as well.
Exactly, or whether the BOG is going to pump in some 78 million cedis to stabilize the currency. Again, Tan Dari says that Ghanaians are so hopeful of this current government, you have no idea.
Well, maybe optimism can help because if there's speculation and there's pessimism, people begin to hoard the dollar and other major foreign currencies.
Well, it helps a lot.
Henrik.
He says that, hey, what is this fixation with the currency? It's becoming too much.
It's everything.
Bismarck says that you guys are joy, won't apologize. A number of comments. Some people, you find mixed comments in there, mixed commentary in there. Some people think that the president is being, overly ambitious. Others think that, well, the next quarter or the last quarter of the year will be a determinant. And so if Ajman, for instance, says that a lot well-meaning Ghanaians, question the true value of the cedi, and you ascribe that to prudent economic management for the IMF to expose us. So we look forward to see. He thinks that, well, time will really tell in all of this. But the next slide, that's a comment we got from Twitter. Right. One of our followers on Twitter. Exactly. Kwesi says that the government through the BOG must intervene on the FX market. Makes no sense to have a stick and watch a dog bite you. Why can't we use our own FX generated from gold board to cushion the cedi? So he's saying that the BOG should intervene to ensure a stable currency.
That's also very debatable, isn't it?
Well, that's what has brought us here, and that's what is creating the issues between us and the IMF. So let's see what happens. But we remain hopeful, Daryl. Fingers crossed.
All right. Thank you so much for bringing us people's views. #JoyBusiness. And always look out for the poll as Isaac does us the honors every Thursday. I appreciate your time. Our Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Agnes Momolate, has called for a review of the non-taxable income threshold for the marginalized communities, especially women with minimal incomes. Her comment comes ahead of the 2026 budget reading. According to her, majority of women and meager incomes but are often saddled with family upkeep, warranting a special quota for women and other vulnerable groups. She spoke at the 2025 National Tax Forum, a program organized to promote tax equity in Ghana.
According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana has a non-taxable income threshold of 490 cedis per month. In GDP terms, this represents approximately 16% of the country's economic value. Expressing concern about the plight of women and income disparities in the country, Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Agnes Momolate, called for a review of the tax threshold for women with minimal incomes. She made this call at the 2025 National Tax Forum, a program organized to promote tax equity in Ghana.
The study shows clearly that women who make up 7 out of 10 workers in the informal sector are particularly disadvantaged under the current tax regime. Many women earn just above the existing tax-free threshold, yet their income remains far below what is needed to sustain themselves and their families. As a ministry, we recognize the importance of ensuring that fiscal policies, including taxation, take these realities into account. That is why we continue to engage with colleagues in government and partners across civil society to explore how fiscal policy can be more responsive, even as we acknowledge the limits of our fiscal situation.
Meanwhile, Daniel Noy, technical advisor at the Ministry of Finance, advocated for a shift toward a voluntary tax compliance regime where citizens feel a sense of obligation to pay their taxes.
We need to go beyond the rhetoric where we want more reforms, we want more development, but yet we are not prepared to support it. We will have to support it. So we need to champion voluntary tax compliance where everybody contributes their quota. We have to champion evidence-based advocacy. We have to support the drive for tax literacy amongst our citizens.
The National Tax Forum, held under the theme Tax Policies for Social Protection, was spearheaded by Revenue Mobilization Africa in partnership with the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Ghana Trades Union Congress, and the Ghana Revenue Authority.
All right, that's the marketplace. There is more news on our website, myjournline.com/business. You can read more about what the president has been saying about the cedi going forward. It must find its true value, Mahama, on cedis for. Also, Mahama confirms BOG has withdrawn from the forex market. myjournline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.